Hi, I'm Andreas Fick, and you're watching Actions Matter. I want to start this off based on a story from one of my customers where I came into the project pretty late in the game. They were almost ready to go live, and what I was seeing was they were spending so much time doing UAT testing and regression testing. They did not have any automated testing or any means of lightening the testing load. So every time they had to do configuration changes or do small fixes, they would have to do it all over again. So this resulted in large resource constraints and a lot of grief on the project, which caused unnecessary negativity, if you will. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about automated testing, like what are some of the opportunities around automated testing, what are some of the challenges, and then give a little bit of a conclusion on it. Later I'll come up with another video that's going to be specifically around automated testing for D365, so stay tuned for that. Well, let's get to it. So what are some of the opportunities that you would be able to get out of automated testing? First and foremost, there is obviously the fact that you're going to save some money by automating and thereby reducing the labor that you would have to put into regression testing and UAT testing. Then with that also comes the faster turnaround time. So from being at a point of saying we need to get another update released to having confidence in the update not breaking the system and taking down critical business processes, like that will happen much faster. So this graph shows the effort to number of test cases ratio, where in the beginning you'll see there is an upfront cost from setting up automated testing, and then as you go through, the test cases will take less and less effort per test case to implement, just because you get more familiar with the tool and how the process is of creating these test cases. So as I mentioned before, there will be a reduction of labor, which will enable your SMEs to be able to focus on their day-to-day tasks for one, but also being able to put an effort in to do the complex testing that needs to be done, and for the test cases that may not be able to be automated, either because of technical limitations or because of complex permutations that need to be validated. And so these are some of the opportunities that you have with automated testing. So with that, let's jump in and take a little bit of a look at some of the challenges. Similar to the opportunities, let's talk about cost and effort first. So the sooner you get automated testing onto the agenda, the cheaper it's going to be. And that just comes from not having to double up on creating these test scripts. You can merely create them so that they fit into the automated test suite that you may be using. So secondly, there is a management component to automated testing. It will need to be managed. It will need to have some manual labor included in it to execute it and monitor it and validate what's going on. Then automated testing is only as good as the test scripts that are being created for it. So it can be a bit of a challenge to make sure that the test scripts that are getting created for automated testing are so good that they actually cover off all the scenarios that you need to cover off. It will probably be a situation where you're going to have iterations on creating these test scripts. So it's just a matter of how many iterations you're going to have. It sort of falls into the next being the technical limitations. You might have some limitations in being able to automate certain test scripts because of their complexities or because of the technical nature that they may pose. So it could be that there might be some reliance on third-party software as part of the test, and that might be hard to incorporate into the automated test scripts. And then lastly, there is a risk that when automated testing gets implemented and their trust is being built, there might be too much of a reliance on automated testing, and it becomes a little bit of a clutch where you can sort of steer away from putting in some manual work to make sure that these complex scenarios are really getting vetted thoroughly. So with that, let me talk a little bit about the conclusion and what my thinking is around automated testing. I feel automated testing is where change management were a couple of years ago, 5 years ago. I think it's crucial for projects, and I think it is the wisest decision if you think economically about your project. So whether you are just starting out or you are well into a project, it's not too late to put in automated testing. I would say if you're sitting in a situation where you're going to roll off your current platform and start off with another platform, don't bother putting it in. But I would then say for the next implementation, you should definitely embrace automated testing. So that's sort of like a quick intro to automated testing. My next video is going to be automated testing with D365 specifically, and I'm going to talk a little bit more into detail on how that can be achieved and what are some of the great opportunities that you will have with that. So see you next time. Thank you.